Hello, it's Sebastian here. Now I'm going to tell you about bubblesort. Now, suppose we start off with an array with, 4 different values in it. So suppose it was 4, 3, 1, and 5. So what we want to do is we want to sort the array so we end up with it in ascending order. So what we want to end up with is the array 1, 3, 4, 5. Now this is how bubblesort works. We start here and we start at the beginning of the array and we compare the first two elements, and if the first one is bigger than the second one, then we swap. Well, it is, so we swap. So this will be 3 and this will be 4. Now we move up, we shift these two arrows up to the next pair of elements, and again, if the first is less than the second, if the first is bigger than the second, we swap. So again we swap. So that becomes 1 and that's going to be 4. Now again we shift these two arrows up by 1. So if the first is less than the second, if the first is bigger than the second, then we swap. It isn't. We've come to the end of the array and we notice we've got the biggest one at the end where it should be. So that's good. Now basically we just repeat that, but next time round the loop we only go up to here. So we know that this 5 is in the right place, so we do the whole thing again, but this time only as far as the one before the last. So the 3, so we start here again with these two arrows. The 3 is bigger than the 1, so we swap. We shift up again. The 3 isn't bigger than the 4, so we don't swap. So now we've come up to the end now, and we see the 4 is in the correct place. So now we start again, but this time we only go as far as here. So we start our arrows back at the beginning. Check whether the 1 is bigger than the 3, it's not, so we don't swap. Now we've already come to the end, so we've finished, and as you can see we've ended up with the bubblesort having sorted the list into the correct or the array into the correct order. So the next question is, how do we turn something like that into a Java program? So that's what I'm going to do now. So let's try and do that. So let's create a file called bubblesort.java. New file. So we want to try and program that algorithm in Java. So here's our class called bubblesort, and we're going to have method which takes an array of integers bubble sort. It's going to take an array of integers and return an array of integers. So, I mean, there's a special case to start off with, and that's if A has either got no elements in it or only one. If it's only got one element, then it's already sorted. So how do we write that? If A dot length is less than or equal to 1, return A. There's nothing to do. Now, in the other cases, we've got at least two elements. So what do we're going to have a counter corresponding to this arrow and another counter corresponding to that arrow. And we're going to, if you remember, this arrow started off here, this top arrow started off here and moved down. So how would we write? So let's call this arrow I. So how would we do that? So we got for I, int I, and we started it off at this end, so that's equal to, what's that? A dot length minus 1. And we carry on until I is, while I is greater than or equal to 1, because that was the last time we had to do it, because that's as far as we don't need to go right down to the last element. That was far enough. So I has got to be greater than or equal to 1, and each time round the loop we subtracted 1 from I because we moved this way. Now what's the inner loop doing? Well, we've got this other pointer. We got for j equals, for int j equals 0. Now how far did j go up to? J went up to, it went up to I. Hold on, j, if we think of this one as j, then it went up to I minus 1, j less than or equal to I minus 1, j plus plus. So the so now we've got to, that's our inner loop, and then we're going to say if aj is greater than aj plus 1, then we have to swap them. So how do we swap two elements of two integers? We need a temp. So let's say int temp. There's our temporary variable for doing the swapping. So how do we swap two variables? We put one into temp becomes ai, no, aj, a j plus 1, aj becomes aj plus 1, and aj plus 1 becomes temp. So we've swapped the two things around. I better make this static. So as you can see, I've got a loop within a loop. The outer loop is doing this, the top arrow that moved slowly down, and then the inner loop is doing the thing that goes along here each time, moving this arrow up, as you remember I did. So that's my bubble sort algorithm. Let's program. Let's compile it to see if it compiles. No, I've got some errors. What's that doing there? Okay. If AJ is greater than AJ plus 1. One error. I've got what's wrong now? Oh, I've got an extra closing bracket. There we go. I didn't notice that one at the end. So let's tidy that up a bit. So missing statement. Oh yes, I should return, because I'm returning an array here. So I've got to, at the very end, I return A. So now I need to test if I compile that. That should compile, yes. So now I need to test out my program. So I want something for printing an array. Well, I've written something for printing an array. It was in another program I wrote, and that was called print array. So I'll copy that method into my other thing. So it basically prints the array with a square bracket at the beginning and at the end, and it separates all the elements by commas. So that's my method for printing an array. So we can try it out with, so let's compile that, see if it works. Oops, I didn't want to do that, so let's kill that now. We finished with that. We've killed that. So now let's compile that. So that works. So we've got our program with the two. We've got something for sorting the array, we've got something for printing it. We need a main now so we can actually run it. So let's do our main. Public static void main string args. So now let's say int b equals, so int array b equals 3, 2, 1. Let's make it, what was it? I've forgotten, it doesn't really matter. 3, 5, 4, 2. And then if we say, we call our print array method, so we say print array on, then we sort it, we bubble sort it, we bubble sort it, we bubble sort B and print out the result. So let's try that. So I compile my program. I've got 3 errors. Sorry, I need curly brackets to define a constant array. There we go. So that's compiled. Now we can run it. Java bubble sort 2, 3, 4, 5. So as you can see, it's put it in the right order. Let's just try a different one. Let's put a 15 at the beginning or something. So then we have to recompile it. And there you see the 15's been put in the correct order. So what I've done is I started off with I've described the algorithm of bubble sort, and I've converted that into the program. And the interesting bit is this method here, which has the loop within a loop. The outer loop represented this arrow that walked down from this end to that end, and the inner loop had these 2 pointers, AJ and AJ plus 1, which moved up the array. Thank you.